Well, what is going down, everybody? Welcome back once again. Man, it has been a hot minute, that is for damn sure. With another, Am I Still on the Air? That is right, and today it is here. He has risen, baby girl. Deadpool and Wolverine, the spoiler review. Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen. We have not been here for a spoiler review since the Marvels back in November of last year. And
Has
then
it
on
been
top of
that
that,
long?
our last spoiler, well, not even a spoiler review, but our last Am I on the Air was our countdown of 2023 and our most anticipated of
yeah.
2024 back in January. So, yeah, this is our first time back. Took 7 months, but we are here to talk a little Deadpool. So, DONMEGA in the house, Peeps in the house, Frigginz in the house. What is
Yo.
up, yo?
Hey, Don.
Missed opportunity for Madam Web. I'm gonna just say that.
Yeah, we probably should have talked about that.
Needed to break that movie down, but it
We're
is glad.
all
Glad to be back for sure.
Oh yeah, I've been waiting to get with you guys and talk movies again. So just really excited that we finally get to talk about this big movie we've all been waiting for.
Definitely not going to hit the 2-hour mark on this one.
No, not at all.
Because we only got nothing but good stuff to say for the most part. I feel so. We'll get into it. The nittiest of the grittiest, as they say. But once again, it is spoilers. So I don't even know, man. If you've gotten this far without spoilers, good on you. Because man, if I hadn't seen this thing last Thursday, I would have been spoiled all over the damn place.
Like on
Every
Thursday,
time I
on that
open
day.
any social media, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, it is spoilers galore. So if you have dodged them to this point, congratulations. By this point, I hope you've seen it. I know most of you have based on that box office. So we're going to get on into it. And I'm excited to be here, man, with you guys. So, man, can you believe it? We finally got to it. Our only MCU film of the year. 2024, it is our only film of the year.
Yep.
And this is a hell of a one to go with, and a hell of a lot one to give us out there. So
it feels weird being the only one. Like I'm so used to there having so many of them, and it's like, whoa, this is what it used to be like.
Right? Yeah, I know. Way back in the day when we had a little Iron Man movie, and then there was 2 movies a year, and 3 movies a year, and 4 movies a year. But Marvel's doing a little restructuring at this point, and so they pushed back Captain America: Brave New World. The strikes happened, so that pushed back some things. So the only one to make it through was Deadpool and Wolverine. And man, if you're gonna only have one film for the year, this is the one, right? So thank God that we got something like this. So as you all know, if you're joining us, we are going to break this thing down spoilerific, talk about the highs, the lows. We're going to talk mid-credits, post-credits. We're going to talk about the box office. We're going to talk about our updated rankings, as we always do at the end of every Marvel countdown. Where did this land on the gist and the mountain of 34 Marvel films? So where did this land? It's going to be a fun conversation. So we're going to get on into it. As we always do, we start with overall thoughts. And this is where we just kind of go around the room and just kind of talk about expectations, kind of heading into that opening night. Where did it land? How did we feel coming out of that showing? So, Frigginz, I'll pass it to you, man. What was the overall thoughts rolling on out of Deadpool?
I mean, man, I couldn't have had higher expectations. Sadly, I was really stressed out about it because I wanted to go in with the lowest of low expectations, but the closer it got, and once we got that first trailer, and I wanted to not watch anything, but of course I succumbed and watched that first trailer. So just seeing Hugh back, it just skyrocketed those expectations. So I walked in just, and it wasn't even just the trailer and the expectation. I managed to skip the second trailer that came out. So I was really glad. I heard from you guys that there was like spoilers in there. So I went out of my way to miss that one. But the rumors that were posting online everywhere about, oh, this cameo and that cameo and Taylor Swift and all these things, like I got really hyped for a lot of those. I don't normally fall into that category of like getting involved with the guessing and all that stuff. But this one I did. So it increased my hype. So it was very worrisome as I finally sat in that seat and like, wait, did I overhype this in my head? But yeah, I couldn't have been more stoked.
Yeah, I mean, the hype is real, man. Going into this movie, we could have set ourselves up for some real bad expectations that could have set us up for failure big time. Peeps, what was your overall thoughts kind of going in here? Where was your head at?
So like we're talking like leaving the theater thoughts, or just like how do I feel about it?
Going
Like
in, and then how'd you feel coming out?
Oh, I only did it going in. I'll get my going out later.
Should have said getting out. Yeah.
It's already too late. Sorry, Frigginz.
This ain't your first
That is
time,
my
Friggin.
thought for the rest of the night. We're done.
I know, right?
Yeah, so man, obviously, right? I think all three of us, if anyone here has listened to our most anticipated, like this was the top movie for all of us for 2024. We're all huge fans of Marvel. We're all huge fans of the first two Deadpool movies. I mean, I've almost anything Ryan Reynolds does. Like I've loved him ever since what is it? A boy, a girl at a pizza place? What is it? The man?
Oh yeah.
Two guys and a girl in a pizza place. He's just great, and just like Nice Pool said, you know, like The Proposal. It's a good movie. So, like, I knew going into this it was going to be fantastic, and I got to experience this on like the best type of experience. I was on vacation. It was a brocation with Frigginz and a mutual friend of ours. We're at San Diego Comic-Con. It was the Thursday release, and like I'm at the movies with my two nerdy dudes, and like it was dope, you know. And so yeah, super excited getting into this. I kept like Frigginz like before the movie started. And I've been, you know, we've been waiting for this for so long with the strikes and all that happening. You know, you get worried when things get pushed back and like, oh man, like what's going to happen? And I hear like, you know, in DX, I mean, you could even confirm, but like, you know, the movie was still being shot, but they weren't allowed to, like Ryan Reynolds wasn't allowed to like write anything or add anything new to it. So I'm like, man, is that going to mess with the integrity of the movie at all? Because they like to kind of ad lib, and I'm assuming like no ad libbing through half of the movie or something. I didn't know how that was going to work. Yeah. But yeah, definitely going into the super hype, and you know, and same thing, like watching the movie, the energy of the movie theater, like everybody was pretty excited. Frigginz is excited. I'm screaming over like all the cameos, and you know, after the credits were finished, like yeah, man, I felt really good about it. Had a really, really good time. Frigginz just gave me his ranking right away, and I told him like I think I'm gonna wait on mine. I'm not gonna say it right now. I'm gonna hold off. But he was very confident with his ranking. I'm curious to see if it still holds today. But yeah, man, it was an absolute blast. Like just like I would say with Endgame and every other Deadpool movie, like it was fun. And if you go to the movies for anything, it's entertainment, and this movie provides.
Yeah, it provides in spades. This is definitely one of those ones going in, like I said, you could set yourself up for failure. Hype is so real, right? You're so excited. Number one most anticipated movie of the year, like we're talking about, you know. And I'll tell you, I mean, 2024 has been one of them years that like I like a lot of movies, but no movie has left me walking out of it like, that's the one, right? Like this is what I'm looking for. This is what I want. This is that big 5 out of 5. Like I feel a little bit let down by almost everything I've seen this year, that it just didn't quite get there. So I was excited, but I was nervous. And going into it, right from the beginning, one of the best opening sequences ever. We'll talk about it. But like I just had a grin on my face, and that grin did not leave my face for 2 hours. I'll just say that. So super, super stoked, super excited. Went in happy, came out happy. I have seen the movie 3 times already and absolutely loved it every single time. Was able to I brought my daughter to it the second time, first rated R movie of all time there with my daughter. I figured this is the one, right? We're gonna look back down the road, and what was that first rated R movie we saw? Deadpool Wolverine.
That's awesome.
I just, she was really excited to see it. My wife, not so much. She wasn't thrilled about it. But I said, I think she'll be all right. Let's do it. And she absolutely loved it. And that's why we saw it the third time, because she said, let's go see it again. And how could I say no to that, right? So let's go. Let's go have a good time. And she wants to go a fourth time. So we'll be probably heading back in the next week or so. And we'll check it out again. Why not? But yeah, super, super awesome. So glad that we all went in positive, came out positive, and our overall thoughts there. So as we get into the physical movie itself, man, the premise kind of super simple here with Deadpool and Wolverine. Basically, Wade continues up kind of right after Deadpool 2, right? He's using Cable's little time travel. He's bouncing around. TVA pops up. He hasn't been Deadpool now for about 6 years. He went to the sacred timeline of 616 and, tried to be an Avenger. And we get our first cameo there with Happy Hogan. And he's like, nah, you're not ready, son. We'll keep an eye on you. Check back later. He decides to not be Deadpool anymore. You see that him and Vanessa have broken up, and he gets taken by the TVA. We meet Mr. Paradox, who basically is telling him, like, hey, your world is dying, but you need to serve a higher purpose. We're going to take you and we're going to move you to the sacred timeline. And he's all about it, right? So he finds out that his world is dying, and because the anchor being has been killed, of course, that anchor is Logan, following up on him passing from the Logan movie. And so then that leads Wade to go find another Logan to then basically save his universe. And we're off to the races from that point there. As we like to do with these kind of spoiler reviews, we like to start off with kind of the negative, right? We kind of get the negative out the way. What didn't we like going into this film? What was it that kind of stood out and stops us from liking this movie? And sometimes we nitpick. That's what we get into. We nitpick a little bit going into these things, and I feel like that's what I had to do here, because there's not much I didn't like. And even saying don't like is a stretch. Like, to me, it's kind of more of like, I wouldn't have done it this way, or this maybe disappointed me. And I just have a couple quick bullet points. Number one, we just talked about it, the 616 sacred timeline, right? Little weird at the end of the movie that he's just back in the Fox universe and we're still separated, right? Like, I thought 100% going into this thing that he would have been in the 616 by the end of this film, and now we have Wade in the Avengers universe. So kind of weird. Doesn't mean that we can't get him there down the road. I feel like in an Avengers movie, now the TVA knows about him and they know he saved universes before during maybe a Secret Wars. They might need to go get a Wade, right, to help out, so they can pull him in if they want to, but they're also keeping him kind of separated in his own little Fox universe, which is interesting. But I would have preferred him to actually be on the sacred timeline by the end of this movie, even with Logan, if we could have got that, but unfortunately we didn't. And the only other thing that super bugged me, and it's bugged me every time I've watched this movie, maybe you guys agree with me here, but the story of why Logan is the worst Logan in this universe. When he tells X-23 the story, he basically says, I got drunk, I left the mansion, and then a bunch of humans stormed the fucking mansion and killed everybody. I don't believe that for a second, that a bunch of humans just stormed this mansion of mutants and they just all got murdered. Like, nobody was able to do anything, that he just came back to a house of dead mutants. Like, I don't know, man. I just feel like there should have been a better reason why he was such a bad Logan. What did he do that was so truly bad? And that was it, really? He got drunk and he left the house and a bunch of mutants got killed and he couldn't stop it. And I don't know. That was super odd to me. And that bugged me because I was like expecting this crazy grandiose story of why he was so bad and why everybody died. I just wish it would have been like, that night Mr. Sinister broke into the mansion and murdered everybody, or just something. Give me like a villain story of who blew up the mansion, who killed everybody, not a bunch of humans stormed the castle, basically.
I thought they were going to do the old man Logan story where basically Mysterio tricks him into seeing all his friends as enemies, and what his mind is seeing. and he kills them all, and then Mysterio drops the facade, and all of a sudden he realizes he killed all his friends, and like that was pretty epically devastating. And that's what I was expecting it to be. I was like, oh my gosh, they're gonna drop the Old Man Logan version, but nope, they didn't.
Love it. See, perfect. You just made a way better storyline up. That would have been so awesome that somebody got in his head and he was the one that murdered everybody, and that's why he's the worst Logan. Perfect. Yeah, I just don't know why they went that route, but that bugged me. But honestly, that's all I got. That's the only two things I can think off the top of my head that really stood out and kind of bugged me going into it. Now, maybe when you guys talk, as always, you'll, enlighten me on something else that might bug me, but that's what I got right now. So, Frigginz, I'll pass it on over to you. Kind of what were some of the things that maybe stood out for you?
Same as you. I had a lot of more nitpicky kind of things. I'm actually going to be really interested to hear what Peeps has to say, because you didn't mention any real negatives when we talked afterwards. But I think for me, again, I love this movie and I had so much fun with it. So when I throw this out as a negative, just keep in mind that it's like very minute, right? So first, I would say that when I look at a movie critically, a lot of times you look at like, are these scenes in here for a purpose? Do they drive a bigger purpose? Is it move the story forward, or is it just wasted space? And I honestly felt like the last fight against the Deadpool Corps, you could completely cut that entire scene and it doesn't change anything that happens in the movie. So
we appreciate you. I'm gonna
I knew I was gonna.
Oh my God! Didn't take long to get into. Get the fuck out of here.
I knew I was gonna get that at some point tonight.
Love that fight, man. Come on, dude.
Well, and that's where I throw in the but, right? So although I say that like story wise, that was kind of an issue. Kind of when it was over, I was just kind of like, nah, we didn't need that. But it was absolutely fun, and the whole purpose of it was to give us some cool joy and excitement and all that. So I get that. I loved it like overall, and I'm glad it was there. I'm just saying, like story wise, critically wise, it doesn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense. Other than that, I didn't have too many gripes with a lot of like the rest of the movie. I think the main other issue for me, and it was probably the biggest issue for me, is more of a personal problem. So this isn't necessarily an issue with the movie itself, but I have a huge problem with the TVA. I am so over it. I didn't really like it when it came out in Loki, and it has continued to drive me nuts. I've just, again, not been a huge fan of that TVA aspect. So anytime they come into something, I'm kind of halfway checking out anyway. And the fact that the kind of like driving force was all behind just that TVA stuff, which I knew from the trailer, but that bothered me in the trailer, that it seemed like, oh man, this is going to be very TVA heavy focused. So I'm just glad we've moved past that. I really hope that we get less and less TVA, and the sooner TVA is gone, the better for me.
I disagree.
That's fine. And other than that, like, I didn't have a whole lot of problems. I think the only other thing is I'll throw this out. This is my last one. Is that I felt the Wolverine cameos went too fast. I wanted more Wolverines. And I know that goes against the point of this movie. It's supposed to focus on Deadpool and this one specific Wolverine. But the problem is when you give me something super mega cool, I want more of super mega cool. And so seeing all those different Wolverines were all super mega cool, and I just wanted more of them. So that was like the one last detail I'll throw in as a negative.
And I will agree with you on that one. Let's go with that. Wolverine.
All right, we got at least one agreement.
The montage, I could have gone another 5 minutes on montages of just
easy
Wolverines. That would have been fantastic. I loved it, and I'll tell you, I noticed it more on the second and third viewing how fast it went, and it was like, man, I wish that was longer. So yeah, no, for sure, that I feel you on that. Peeps, what you got?
Oh man, I'm about to make everybody sad. I feel like, so yeah, I actually have a lot of stuff that I kind of had beef with this movie.
Interesting.
So
here we go.
And maybe it's nitpicky, right? Maybe. So we'll see. I'll let you guys decide. Overall, the biggest issue I have with this movie is I think the plot is pretty weak. Nothing really. You said Frigginz about the whole Deadpool scenes, about what does it do? What does any of this really do for anything? Like, is this, when you talk about stakes in the future, like at the end of the movie, that he still exists in the same Deadpool area that he was, and at the end of this, him and his girl are happy, him and all of his friends are happy, and I guess the only difference is that now we have Hugh Jackman and Laura in Deadpool's in Deadpool's little circle. Yes, maybe, can you help out my friends, TVA? Give them some places. We'll see what we can do. Okay, so potential movie or additional cameos for gratuitous cameos in the future, but like overall I just don't see what this movie actually did, and that kind of the same blue balls feeling I got at leaving Multiverse of Madness. Thought Multiverse of Madness was going to be this big movie that changes Marvel, and now we're all combining universes, and we're there's universes that know about us and we know about them, and all this big stuff that I thought was going to happen. And at the end of the day, we really just go to one universe, and that's it. So that's it. I just, and it's a Deadpool movie, so you can just say it's a Deadpool movie. But I just think like decisions are stupid with Mr. Paradox inviting Deadpool in and telling him, "I'm just going to murder everything. I'm the ultimate bad guy," and just thinking Deadpool's going to be like if you know anything about, you're supposed to know everything about all these characters, and if you know anything about Deadpool, you know that he loves his friends, and especially a Peter. Like, if there's anything you know about a Deadpool, is that he wants to protect his Peter. And if you're going to tell them that at least his Peter is going to be erased, like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe other Deadpool
Sugar Bear
are more morally gray, as Deadpool said, "I am morally gray." So whatever. And again, it's fine. I just whatever.
Can I piggyback off that? Because you just made me remember another negative there. Going back to Mr. Paradox, I would say, yes, the fact that he's like, your timeline's dying. Oh, damn, how long do we have? A couple thousand years. But I don't want to wait that long, and I just want it to die now, right? So let's get a time ripper, and let's just destroy this world, because I don't want to sit around and wait for this thing to die. That was weird to me, because it was like, why? Like, what was so important about killing his universe off that he had to speed it up in the next 72 hours, right?
2 hours, yeah.
So that did bug me. That
I didn't really understand it.
Nefarious for really no reason.
Yeah, I didn't get, like, what does he get out of doing that?
Right, exactly.
I don't know.
What did it do for him at the end of the day?
Yeah, he's trying to meet a quota. It's the end of the month, guys. It was 31st, and he needed that one other.
One more universe had to go.
He's trying to get that promotion.
And then I'm just creating this device that if anybody else gets a hold of, like, it could just mean the end of time, and I don't know. It just, anyways, we're off of that. And I think. So I'll back up. I'll bounce off what you said, DX. That, and I kind of already said it. Like, they really didn't they really didn't fix the MCU. Frigginz, you mentioned that you wish they went harder on the cameos. I do too. I think specifically, and I said this on your review, I think Nolan North deserves some sort of nod, because he is the voice of Deadpool, has been in all the video games, animated. That is Deadpool. But you're going to throw Nathan Fillion as Headpool? If Nolan North was Headpool, that would have been great, I think. I don't know. And I don't know. I just think he would have been a great addition to the Deadpools. And I think even revealing Lady Pool as Ryan Reynolds' wife, maybe that could have been a neat moment, but I don't know, maybe not. It was cool to see the name in the credits, I guess, but whatever.
Yeah. Matthew McConaughey as
the I think none of them were actually in the suits, and they were just the voices.
That is
they couldn't unmask. Yeah,
that is true. our main villain. I have issues with her because she is like Apocalypse powerful, right? We have never seen a character as powerful as her in any of the Fox movies, let alone the MCU movies. Like a character that can just by the pinch of her fingers can just rip every skin off of your body. Like she was ridiculously powerful and could stop and kill anybody that she wanted to until later on when she didn't. I don't know. Like Deadpool Wolverine, don't you guys try to stop me. I'm going to go in here and stand in front of this machine for 10 minutes while you guys, good luck. I don't know, man. Like, I don't get the whole super strong characters. And then we establish how strong they are, but then we just don't actually quite go there. And I was telling Frigginz too, like, I don't understand how she just can't die. Like if she gets shot in the chest, and if she can think, if her brain waves are working, then she could just not die. Like Logan stabbed her through the back and she's just immortal, essentially. Like me, I guess. Sure, she's just Apocalypse, I guess. I don't know. She's gonna bring
I was
down
told part of her power set was that she could heal. So
okay.
That's some. I talked to a couple geeky ones that were like, oh yeah, she can heal, like that's part of her power set. So
but they didn't explain that, and
they didn't explain it. No. Yeah.
And you remind me, Peace, I just want to throw one more thing because it relates to that.
I'm throwing the hate.
The thing that I hate about a lot of movies is you have the big bad that's running all the minions, and the hero will just straight up murder the shit out of all the minions.
Yeah.
But when they come to the big bad that's causing all the problem, then all of a sudden, like, I'm not going to kill this time. And for them to do that, like, that is really, really frustrating in any movie I watch. And I forgot about that. Like, that did drive me a little.
She could kill you like this, then why not just do it, right?
But let's just take the helmet off.
We'll have a monologue. And...
But he cut Sabretooth's head off. How many, like you said, other minions did he kill on the way up to her? But then once you get to her, Charles wouldn't have wanted me to do this.
Yeah, but he would have wanted you to kill all those 300 other people. Yeah, exactly.
Like, I think if anything, it was a great character moment, I guess. Like I will say I did appreciate that because him acknowledging Charles's teachings and actually utilizing his teachings. Like I like that moment, but it just happened and I didn't. Whatever, Deadpool movie, we're having fun. So
supposed to say more about him than her.
Sure. I do say, and I'm sure you guys would agree, but I think a lot of the fighting scenes, specifically with I don't know what their name was. What are they? The Furious Four, the
others. I think they said
the others. So, like with those, I just would have loved to see their fight at the end. I don't know, like a little more, like maybe some like X-Men style, like team up attacks, like Gambit charges Blade's, and again, why didn't Blade have a blade? I don't know, but Blade's something, and then Blade throws it, and then he catches it. I don't know.
It's because Deadpool has the blades. We couldn't have too many katanas running around.
That's true. Yeah, they reached their katana limit. But I don't know.
You always want those team up things, though. That's definitely a Peeps thing, and some of the movies gave it to us, but I could see that.
I don't know. I just think the action at the end, like we had like 10 people at the top with guns, and none of them can hit anyone. Like I think like inefficient a barrel situation. Like I don't know, man. Like
you know how it goes. Stormtroopers.
Exactly.
Furious did it too.
And DX, you mentioned earlier about the humans killing the mutants. I mean, we saw in like X-Men 97, like humans have tons of like robotic or sentinel or depowering weapons that they could have used. Like I could see something like that kind of happening.
Not kill everyone though.
But
a couple, sure.
Yeah, and in the world of like, again, plot. I mean, you mentioned it, DX, about the Logan, like the Wolverine in this. It's just Logan, right? He did something in his past. He's feeling really bad about it. He doesn't want to fight anymore. Laura has a conversation with him, and then now he's good. Like It's just the same thing. There was nothing extravagantly special, and our conversation was very, I don't know. It wasn't as earned, obviously, as it was in Logan, because that was an entire movie. But she was like, "Oh, you were never the right guy." Well, I'm not. I'm not the right guy, so that must mean I am,
dude. Now you can get the fuck out. That was an amazing conversation, and that hit me so hard. No, that hit me so hard. I completely disagree with you on that one. Like, I thought that was so well earned, and like that, like expectation of, like, he's always thinks he's the lowest one, and it was just she needed to tell him that, like, that's what you say, that's what you do until you don't. And like, I don't know, I loved it.
Yeah. Well, because you don't, when she has the conversation with him in the woods, she just says you were always the wrong one and walks off, right? But then when they recap it at the end of the movie, that added line of "until you weren't" is added to the end, right? Which that's why he got in the fight, you know, because that's the whole thing. Logan is always the wrong guy until he's not, because he's always going to step up at the end of the day and do the right thing, kind of. And I love that whole sequence was great.
Yeah. I super hyped about the Sabretooth scene. Super disappointed about the Sabretooth scene.
Fans have waited forever for this.
Yeah.
That shocks me though, because like you also like the like anime, like, you know, the run by with the sword swipe, and then
I like anime, but that piece it depends. Like, but no,
man, I thought that was so cool.
I love Sabretooth, man. I just wanted if Sabretooth, I'm not saying that Sabretooth would have been the Pyro character, because again, if he's having a conversation with the TVA, they'll be dumb. Oh, yeah, you want me to kill Logan? That would be dumb. But like, just more, you know, you're gonna have a guy that's probably Blob. You're gonna have a guy that was probably the big Russian guy from the Punisher movie, right? With the red and white striped shirt.
He's called the Russian.
Okay.
Yeah. Should have got Kevin Nash. He would have totally done it if they would have asked him.
You know, like, no,
cheap. They went cheap.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like again, other little nitpicks that maybe I'll mention as we go. But like, yeah, I don't know. Like I think at the end of the day, if you're not us and you haven't absorbed 20 years worth of Fox, like before I took my kids to see this. Also first rated R movie I took my kids to see.
Nice. There you
go. Before I took them, I gave them a 30-minute PowerPoint presentation on this is why Wesley Snipes as Blade could be important to know. This is why Channing Tatum popping up in this movie. You remember Free Guy, right? Apollo? I do. He knew Francis. He knew his name and everything. Like, yes. Remember Francis, because he may be important. You're like having to go through all that. Like, if all of that wasn't painted for you, like, this wouldn't be a good movie. It'd be like showing my kids like Hot Shots today. Like, they would laugh, but they wouldn't understand any of the references. And I don't know. How does this movie stand as far as an overall movie? You know, like, you have to have legacy. There has to be legacy knowledge coming into this movie to fully understand it. And I don't know. Like, it's an interesting thing, because not many movies, hardly any movies ever do that. I think Endgame obviously did it, but yeah. Anyways,
no, this was truly a love letter to the Fox universe, and that's, you know, what they were setting out to do was the final goodbye. You know, like how they said, like, you know, I never got to end in my universe, you know, and it was like, you know, I never got to fight for my universe, and just those kind of statements. And I born in this universe. I mean, there is a lot of a little bit of homework, especially for those younger kids, right? Because my daughter was in the same boat. She'd never watched any of the Fox movies, so you know, when people are cheering in the theater for Elektra and Blade and everybody, she's looking at me going, why are they clapping for these people? Like, who is this? You know, like, why? Who is this person? Or when Chris Evans pops up and she's like, yeah, Captain America's here. And she's like, why is he on fire? You know, like, so,
right.
You know, there's those explanations.
Why is he not dead?
But, you know, so yeah, it definitely creates a little bit of homework there, but legacy is what it's all about, man. You know, it's like, like when you look at it, like you said, as like an overall movie, and we're trying to, you know, based on plot and all that other kind of stuff, like, it's thin, it's loose, you know, but again, we talked about it in the beginning. It's about enjoyment, and that's what we go to the movies for, is having a good time. And that's what this movie, is bringing in spades. So it you can kind of almost disconnect the rest of it and say, hey, whatever, like I can pass the thinness of it and all these other things and just geek out for what it is, because it's giving me what I wanted out of this film. And that's what I enjoyed.
And I talked to a lot of people that hadn't known anything about the Fox stuff and still were saying, oh my God, that movie was so funny. And they will say, like, I didn't understand the references, but like I got everything else. And that's, that I think that's a win.
It's a total win. I've had to explain the Channing Tatum thing to a dozen people in the last week.
That's the biggest one.
Why was he in that? Why was he Gambit? And then have to, well, you see, before the merger, like he was going to do this movie. So but everybody enjoyed it, right? Like you go on TikTok right now, every other TikTok is Channing Tatum, Oh, I'm going to make a name for myself. They call me the Gambit.
Also, I am pretty upset that it is still Universe 616, and they're not going to fix it, and they refuse to fix it. It should be 1999999.
So you gotta let that go. 616.
I gotta throw in one more complaint. You just reminded me, and then I'll be done.
Gambit, let's move on. Jesus.
Gambit didn't have his 2-finger gloves. Like when he's shuffling, it was just a full hands, and I was like, he needs the gloves with just the two. Like that's such a staple of Gambit. Okay, I'm done.
We'll let you have that one since you wait long enough for this. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Any other things really pressing there, peeps? Because you've said a lot in the last 20 minutes. Should we move on to some positives?
Let's do it. I feel like when Peeps is on mute, then I can talk instead. And he said everything I just said was wrong, and I agree with Fred 100%.
All right, well, let's pivot to what we loved, and this will kind of be like probably I feel like a lot of this is going to be just an open forum of just really the moments that stood out, right? Because that's what this movie is. It's a bunch of moments. It's a bunch of key things that happened that really stand out, that we loved and we had a good time with, that we laughed our asses off with. We mentioned it a little bit before. Let's start kind of at the beginning, right? Like we're going through, I got to find a Logan, right? Or actually, let's go right to the beginning. Let's talk intro to this movie. He's like, hey, everybody wondered how we were going to dance around the Logan thing. Well, we're not, fuck it, and he starts picking them up, right? He's like, this is the thing about regeneration. You never die, right? So let me find him. And then he's just an adamantium corpse. So
hilarious.
And then we bust into a bye montage with him kicking ass with the TVA, using Wolverine's bones as weapons, which was just overly fantastic. So great. Love the Gossip Girl joke as well too. There's 207 bones in the human body, 208 if you watch Gossip Girl.
Oh yeah,
it was hilarious.
I swear when the trailer I was just gonna say when the trailer came out and you could see him using the wood, I was like, that looks like that's added CGI. I had a feeling they were covering something up, but I had no idea what it would be, and this was so much better.
Bones, yes, 2 minutes into this fight, when I took my daughter the second time, she leaned over and was like, I love this. This is amazing. Like we were just literally right in that opening sequence. And man, Bye 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 is in the top 20 right now of top songs. That is literally skyrocketed off that opening. I truly do believe this is one of the greatest opening sequences like of all time. Like it is so much fun to watch. Like the dance is hilarious. Him using the bones, even like there's moments where he's whipping them with the bones and it goes through the song, right? Just like dun dun dun, and he's just syncs up, and it's just so good.
He throws the three fingers and
the fingers, and the credits are on each body part. The skull says Hugh Jackman on it, and all the things are happening, and and he gets the claws on his hands and pops them, and he's like, oh awesome. Shit. And then stabs his own arm, and he's like, Wolverining is hard, and he's in that one guy's ass, and then in the other guy's crotch, and he's going back and forth between the two of them. I mean, just the choreography is just so good between this stuff. And that guy's like, you sick fuck, Logan was a hero. Yeah. And it's just, oh man, just, okay, talk opening sequence, man. You guys, just great way to open it, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you said most of all of it. I just... adding in the little dance number to it was great too. Like cutting to the dance number, I was like, oh my god, he's actually even doing the dance.
Yeah.
That was really fun. Yeah, I mean, like I said, you pretty much covered everything for that opening sequence. It was great. It was really fun.
Yeah, I'm very much a believer in most directors. When they give us the start of a movie, they're just kind of letting you know, hey, get ready, because this is if you don't like this, then you're probably not going to have a good time. And yeah, DX, I mean, like, definitely an amazing opener. And I do also like how they Deadpooled it a little bit, right? Kind of how they tell their story backwards a little bit, like they'll start in the future, but they didn't really. Like, it was only what, like 20 minutes maybe into the movie before they got back to that point. Like, it's not like they did that the entire movie. So, you know, I did like that element of it too. And yeah, just it was a great when, you know, he grabs the Wolverine claws and chinks them, and then the camera just kind of goes around to his back and then just goes into his butt. My daughter was laughing so hard at that part. And yeah, man, it was like there's not much I can add to it. Just you got some adamantium bones, you can do some damage to people.
Nunchucks was so cool, using the femur as a nunchuck or whatever.
Yeah, that's when it hit the beat, when he just did the
dun, dun.
Right.
I did like too, like right after he was like fuck, and then he was hitting the skeleton, and it was sitting next to him. He just kind of had it sitting all casually with its legs crossed, and I think like one of its arms were up. And
he's like, I calmed down now. I'm sorry about that.
And then
another great kill.
Mug. I didn't notice that until the second viewing.
That's funny.
I like he on the one in the opening sequence too, when that one TVA guy's talking to him, and he says something about Canada, and he goes, "Keep my country's name out your fucking mouth," and he just throws his knife at the floor, and it bounces into the guy's head. Oh man, that was such a cool sequence right there. The way
because it hits on like Ryan and Deadpool, like it's perfect.
Yeah. Keep my country's name out your fucking mouth, and my sword.
My sword.
I love too. Every time he used the baby knife, he would be like, "Baby knife,
baby knife." Like every time,
every single time.
That was funny.
That cracked me up, dude. My daughter's so synced up to that one. She was all, "Baby knife, I love baby knife."
I didn't notice that until the second viewing. I'm like, he literally said it every time.
Every time.
It cracked me up every time he popped it up.
With Cassandra, he's like, "Let me introduce you to baby knife," and he just baby knife every single time. The Wolverine montage. So get into that, man. Like, I know we wanted it to be longer, but you know, we had little baby short, comic accurate Wolverine, which was great because I love that he was like, "Oh, look at the little comic accurate Wolverine," which should put to rest anybody that's like, "Want the comic book one?" That's what you would get on the big screen. It don't work, guys. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. You had that. You had Patch. You had the one fighting the Hulk, which I thought was fantastic. I wish they would have stayed there just a minute longer because I love that he was like, "It's the suit you were wearing when you fought the Hulk," and the Hulk slaps
him. Which it wasn't,
you know?
but
it wasn't. Yeah, exactly.
Still fun.
It wasn't.
No.
He had a yellow and blue, with like a much different mask, though. I mean, it's similar, but it's a little sillier.
That's when his claws like bent. Yeah. It was weird.
Oh yeah.
Interesting. But I know, isn't it like on the comic picture, he does have the claws out, and you see the reflection of Hulk, which they did do that.
And in that cover, he's in the brown and yellow. So, but his first appearance is actually in a Hulk 181, and in that first issue, his first appearance, he's wearing the yellow and blue, but just with a different kind of mask. Yeah. So it's a little weird.
It is a little weird. Yeah, but you're talking about first appearance or when he fought the Hulk? Like when he actually fought the Hulk, he wasn't in the brown suit?
His first appearance was in a Hulk book, and he was not in the brown suit.
But that's not what they were talking about, though. They're talking about when he actually fought the Hulk.
I'm pretty sure he also fights the Hulk in that one, and that's the one with the reflection, and so that one is exactly like that issue. Yes.
Yeah. So, I think that's what they were kind of getting at. Not that it was the first time he was in a Hulk.
Yeah.
Comic.
Either way, it was badass. Either way, it was badass.
Yeah. You know, and then what did we get? We get Apocalypse Wolverine, which was really cool.
That was my favorite. I lost my shit.
big old mutton chops, good to go. And then what's the one that's kind of like he's hanging on the X? Like I wasn't familiar with that one.
That's
Where
just
he's
a
on the
comic
X with
cover
all the
as
skulls.
well.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like a awesome cover.
Do you remember in Logan the group of people that had like robotic pieces? They're called the Reavers. In that one, they had basically captured him and threw him up on the X. So it was just to acknowledge the comic cover. That's very famous.
Right. Yeah, I like that he was like, "It's not you. We're just gonna go a different direction." And he's just back to the TVA thing. And then of course we get the Cavalrine, man, which was just such a cool fucking thing. I love that he turns around. He's like, the Cavalrine. He's like, this just fucking feels right. And he's just so excited. I love the dig at DC, right? Where he's like, we'll treat you so much better than those dickwads down the street.
That's funny, yeah.
And then Henry popped the Mission Impossible arm
Hell
straight
yeah.
out that fight and popped the claws out with the right left and goosh right on out of there. So fantastic.
I wonder
stuff.
whose
Yeah,
idea that was. Like who thought to
Yes.
think that way?
I hope it was Henry. I hope he was like, what if I'd like just like
Yeah.
Exactly.
I did not think, man, I did not for a million years think that would happen. I was like, there's like something inside of me that I was like hoping, but like there's no way they're gonna do it.
I like
will say though,
his
mutton chops looked a little rough. Like
they're pretty bad.
Looked a little rough, but no, I agree. Like, didn't he hit him through the portal?
I was gonna say, I love that force.
Yeah, he said you're just leaving, and he's like, no, I'm not. He's up just right in his chest.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, no, it was great, man. Anything else you want to touch on with this montage, man? Just how cool was it seeing all these different variants and kind of going through all these styles and comics, forms, like Patch and all these guys. Like, how cool was that?
It just makes me sad that like each one of those could have been another movie. You know what I mean? And like, if you think over the last like 30 years, if they could have, or 20 or 25, 24 years, whatever, if they could have just made those movies, like could you imagine a movie where he's fighting the Hulk directly in a brown suit like that, or a movie of Age of Apocalypse, a movie of Patch, like
then it would be so Ivan Ooze Apocalypse, and I don't want that. So.
If it was done, well, that one looked great. I loved how like his hair was crazy and how ultra violent he was. Like that was really cool.
He had the stub also.
Yep.
Didn't Cyclops blast his arm off? That's why he only has one arm.
He stabbed Cyclops in the eye. That's why Cyclops only has one eye, and the blast blew off his hand.
Oh, nice. Yeah, awesome sequence. And then of course it goes to what we saw in the trailer, where he gets the Logan from that universe, who has let everybody down and doesn't care if he lives or dies, just wants to drink. And basically, Logan or Deadpool's trying to get him to take the place of that anchor being and save his universe. But of course it doesn't work like that. And those guys are sent to the void. And that's how we get into that area there where basically, just like the Loki TV series, like everything that's basically been chopped off goes down to the void. So that's where we get the 20th Century Fox logo. And we see all those old school X-Men villains. And we get our first big fight between these two guys, which was awesome right there, And I love, too, the fourth wall break on this fight where he's, okay, nerds, get out your sock because it's about to get good, and that's when he pops the bullets up and snaps them into the gun. And, exactly like Peeps was just saying, Wolverine just down low and just kind of crawling through the sand, and you haven't really seen him fight like that, and that was just cool as shit, man. And it was cool how many fights we got between these two. And it's like I could see some people complaining obviously that there's really no stakes, right? Because they're two guys that just heal up and it is what it is. But I thought that made it so much more fun because they could just beat the shit out of each other, and you didn't have to really worry about one killing the other one. It was just a lot of gruesome, heavy fighting. And this was a great opening kind of fight to finally see these guys go at it for the first time in the film. So what do we think about this opening fight sequence here?
Well, I just wanted to say that in regards to your comment about them healing and there's no stakes, like I thought it was great because it's a way to let them, like they each have learned like, oh, I can completely let loose with this. Like I can throw out all of my aggression and there's no consequence, right? Like Wolverine's feeling bad because of all the people he let down, but also of all the people he killed. And, I don't know that Deadpool necessarily has those regrets for some of the people he's killed, but like they were able to let everything out on each other knowing that they weren't going to put one or the other one in the ground. And so it reminds me of like Superman fighting somebody like a Zod, where like, you know, if he's fighting a normal person, he has to pull his punch. He can't hit him full force. And then when he gets someone at his level, he can go full force on stuff. And that was kind of like, I think, a really interesting therapeutic like adjustment for Wolverine to really, I think the fighting of Deadpool and going over and over and over, like having that multiple times, was a way for him to let out some steam, essentially. And it almost seemed a little bit therapeutic for him. So I thought it worked really well.
I'll say, like, when The Rock and Vin Diesel fought in Fast and Furious, was anybody thinking, oh, what are the stakes here? You know, who's going to kill who? Like, nah, it's just Godzilla versus King Kong. I want to see them. I want to see this go down. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't thinking like, oh, okay, who's going to kill who here? Like, no, it's Deadpool fighting Wolverine, and I'm having a good time. Shut up, everybody else. Yeah. I don't know. I can't stand some of these people who love to complain. And I know I'm going on a side tangent, but like the folks that are complaining about the Robert Downey Jr. News, it's just so obnoxious of the points that they're trying to make as to how the horrible and MCU is and how desperate they are. Like, no, this works. They've been building this
multiverse on that a little bit. Hold on to that thought.
Yeah. I guess I went to side tangent there, but no, I love the first fight. I don't know if we're talking about the second one yet.
Yeah,
I like the second one even more. Like, even though it was very close
the one in the car.
Yeah, it was much more fun.
Honda Odyssey. Yeah.
It just that fight felt like it meant more when he's like, "I'm going to punch you now," and then he's just like, "Oh, good, please," and then he just and then he takes out the two little. Oh my gosh, I love that fight. Well, no, those little punching things that he.
Oh yeah. The little spikes on him or something.
Yeah, spikes,
and then just how
the car fight is fantastic.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah, because like you said, it's the stakes leading up to it, right? Like they're just kind of road tripping it, and they're having they're just chilling. They're trying to find the others, and then. He makes that mistake of saying like, "Hey, what are you going to do if they change your world?" And what do you mean if? And it's like, well, if you change your world, so you fucking lied to me, and it's like, well, I didn't lie. I made an educated wish.
So stupid.
A joke they kept going.
A fucking educated wish.
Yeah. It's like, God, the Honda Odyssey fucks hard.
He did not want to be in that car, but there we are. Man, that fight just so close quarters from the front of the car to the back of the car to outside the car, kicking the car, making the airbag pop, and then jumping through the windshield and
bum rushed it. That was so dope.
Oh, that was really cool.
Super cool, man. And then I love how they kind of faded it, like they were fighting all night, and then the next day he's all wrapped up in the
freaking hilarious.
And the seatbelt is just all wrapped around them like 1,000 times.
Just the thought that they fought each other to exhaustion. Like normal people wouldn't last it that long, but obviously they did, and just to the point where they both just passed out. I don't know. It was so good. I like that. I like that scene a lot.
And I love when he wakes up and he's like, "God of Thunder" or something like that.
Every time he was passed out and he woke up, he said Thor. Or
God of Thunder. Thinking about that kid or
thinking about that.
Thor crying.
Yeah, exactly. Because when he shows up at the end with Paradox again, it's the first thing he says is, "Tell me why Thor was crying." Like he just goes back to it again. Like out of nowhere.
I hope they do that somehow.
Oh my god, that'd be so funny. Man. That'd be so.
Funny. Ryan Reynolds tweeted out the still shot of that, and he was like, "I know why Thor was crying." And then Chris
jerk.
Chris Hemsworth retweeted it, and he was like, "I can keep a secret," like with a smiley face. And so I like that they're both playing off of it now, which is awesome. We got to get something in an Avengers movie down the road for sure. We got to, because those two have got to meet after the setup in this one, man. They're damn sure. Anything else about the car fight there, Frigginz?
No, I mean, we said it all. It's all good.
Yeah. Great stuff. So those are two big fights there between Wolverine and Deadpool. Of course, kind of going backwards. Let's jump into cameos, right? So leading into this movie, there was obviously all those rumors, man, we're gonna have lots of cameos, and people were, even to a point, again, people were getting worried, right? Is it gonna just be this weird cameo fest, or all these people gonna be popping in, popping out? Is it just gonna be, cameo porn, basically, like with no real reason? And the cool thing I can say, kind of after seeing the movie multiple times, is that every cameo matters in this film. Like, and it really, like, there's a reason for it. There's a reason these characters pop up, and they're not just really cameos. A lot of the people that pop up are in it for several scenes. They actually play out fucking longer than just a, hey, I'm here, see you later. Like, yeah, you have some of that with some of the villains, but even with a lot of the villains, they couldn't even get the original actors to come back. We had a different Juggernaut, which I love. They said, oh, you're this week's Juggernaut. Like, to them, kind of made that joke. It was a different Psylocke. It was a different Azazel, like it was a different Lady Deathstrike. Like, there was just all kinds of different people portraying those characters from those other X-Men movies. We talked a little bit about Sabretooth. We have that fight, right? He cuts Sabretooth's head off. And I love the Furiosa kind of, this is your queen.
So
like,
funny.
He does the whole Furiosa line. If you want me, you got to go through her. So just great stuff there. Meeting into Cassandra Nova. But then, so the guy shows up out of nowhere with the hood on, and as soon as he starts talking, you know who it is, man. We're like, I'm like, oh shit, that's Chris Evans, dude. This is fucking tight, right? And they have him kind of cloaked, but he's in blue enough to where you're like, not really thinking about it. You're like, oh, Captain
There's a
America,
little
whatever.
bit of red on his
a little bit of red on the
so.
sleeve. So you're like, okay, like, cool. He jumps
and
down.
In the sand, there was a shield in the sand, like right before they showed him. So I was thinking, like, shield in the sand, like, okay.
Yep. So they set it up perfectly. He jumps down. Deadpool's freaking out, right? Like, oh my God, it's him, right? Like this is gonna be great. And and then you get that moment where he's like, he's gonna say it, he's gonna do it, Avengers, and then he says, flame on, right? And goes up in the sky. And seeing that for the first time, number one, I had no fucking idea Chris Evans is gonna pop up in this movie. So that was a great surprise. Number two, I had thought about the possibility of him being Johnny Storm like years ago when they were going to make this movie. And then watching it the first time, like, that thought never crossed my mind for some reason, because I was just thinking MCU. I'm like, oh, it's Captain America, whatever. The only thing that stood out to me a little bit that kind of was making me think was his hair, because he just had his normal kind of black hair, right? Like, they didn't try to like lighten it or make it more Captain America, like how he's got the dirty blonde, like, so his hair was sticking out to me, and I was like, that's a little weird, but hey, it's a cameo, maybe they just didn't want to go through the hassle, right? Of like doing all that. But when he said flame on, man, our theater just erupted. And it was just such a cool twist, man. It's the one that, like, my wife said like landed for her the best. Like, it was just like, that was such a cool moment. Pissed me off that Pyro was able to kind of take him out so easily. I
actually thought that was cool. Like, I never thought about Pyro going up against a flame generated person, and like that's his thing. He controls flame, and if he's stronger,
but
like
Johnny
that,
can go like supernova, man. Like, that's fucking nuts that he was able to just like burn him out that fast.
True.
Like, it seemed odd, but it was funny. And he knocks him down. I thought he was fucking dead.
I thought he was dead. Yeah, I was like,
he landed on his fucking neck, dude. He broke his neck. I was like, he's so dead. And I love too when he lands and Wolverine goes, we don't know that guy. Like, right away, he's just, we don't know that guy. And they end up getting arrested and then taken to Cassandra's thing. But then when they show the road trip to Cassandra's, then Chris Evans is alive, and he's talking about, hey, he gives the exposition of, we're in the void, this is where things go that they don't matter anymore. He talks about, he even mentions how Reed talked about the void and what it means to the universe and all stuff, which was kind of cool. So and then you see they drove through the pyramids, man. I think that was a straight shout out to Apocalypse right there, as they drove through all those pyramids that are going to Cassandra's. Yeah, man. And then, of course, so continuing on cameos, we got Johnny Storm. And then, of course, we get the big trifecta there of, Elektra and Blade and Channing Tatum as Gambit. And, of course, X-23, Daphne Keane coming back as being the actual X-23 from Logan, which was actually really cool. She wasn't like a variant of that. So that was awesome there. Of course, when they go into the fight, she puts on the glasses from Logan, which was pretty cool that, all those years she kept that, right? To remember him by.
I like that.
So cool, man, because the only one we knew about was really Jennifer Garner as Elektra. That one actually came out in the trades. They were like, "Oh yeah, she's in the movie." That was reported on. So like, but she was never in any advertising. She was never in any pictures, posters, anything. So I
So
didn't
was
know
she
when
in that
she would
last
fit into that.
trailer?
No, the
Oh,
last trailer was X-23.
okay,
That was
okay.
one if they threw in there.
And
Yeah,
Lady
so
Pool.
in Lady Pool, but that to me wasn't really a spoiler. Like they had already
Yeah.
shown kind of the Deadpool core like
Yeah.
before, like but it was X-23 and they showed Toad. Like that was the first time Toad was shown. So, that was kind of like, you know. But yeah, so we get them all in there, and that whole sequence was just incredible as well, too, right? Like getting to see those characters back. Meeting them, like, did you catch too when he's talking to Elektra and he says like, "Oh, let's get reacquainted." He was like, "Your name is Wonder," and then she's all Elektra. Yes, yes, Elektra. He started to call her Wonder Woman,
Yeah,
which was
I
like
did catch
really
that.
funny as hell. That
Yeah.
I didn't catch the first time. I caught it the second time. You are Wonder. Oh yeah, Elektra. How could we forget?
I
And
mean, she
then
was ripped,
Blade.
man. She looked so buff. Like I was really
She looked good.
surprised. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was a great one there, and then Blade, and then I love the back and forth of the, "Oh, I didn't think to see you here. I thought you were retired." And he's like, "Retarded."
Retarded.
He's like, "Dude," he's like, "I'm already in the void. I ain't trying to get canceled."
Yeah.
And and then of course Channing Tatum comes in, and I told you guys, man, as soon as I saw that card floating in, I thought of Fred right away. I was like, "Oh shit, they're gonna do it," because that was a rumor for a long time. Will they bring Channing Tatum in and let him actually realize the role that he never got to do? And he was there, man, in his full, like, pretty much, besides the gloves, Fred, but he was in his full costume right out the damn cartoon, with the headpiece, like everything. It was super, super cool. But I got to ask you, what did you think about the accent? And like, do you feel like he was pretty spot on, or do you feel like they were really turning it up for comedy sakes? Or like, obviously they were trying to play with that, but like, I know, like, I saw an interview with Channing Tatum like years ago, and he was talking about how hard it is to do the Cajun accent and
Yeah.
really like lay it on and stuff like that. So like, what did you truly feel about kind of the way he portrayed that dialect?
I mean, I think it was definitely amped up for the comedy aspect. I think had this been like a solo movie or something like that, they would have toned down a lot of the French dialogue that he had. In that Cajun, they do mix French in there, so it was accurate. It's just I think they just amped it up. So for those comedic, there's a lot of stuff going. Like I've saw a lot of people that are taking the like animated show and editing in like dub overs, and I've seen like them talking about Gambit, like, "Speak English, man," and he's like, I am speaking English. They're like, "No, your accent, I can't tell what you're saying." And so like that seems to be like a running joke right now. So it was just great to see that like all coinciding together. His costume, man, like it was insane to see it in real life. Like I literally got teary-eyed to see it finally on the big screen.
Awesome.
But also at the same time, it just reminds me how ridiculous the suit is. Like I have to admit it, like it looks so funny in real life, but like also so cool at the same time. And yeah, I mean, you see the card first, and it took a second to process.
Oh yeah,
because it went kind of fast, and I was like, "Was that a card? No way!" And then like he comes around the corner, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Man, it was just it was a dream come true.
Did you think for a minute it might have been Taylor Kitsch?
No, I knew because Ryan Reynolds and Channing Tatum are such good friends, and they're in so much of the same movies. I did wonder if Kitsch was going to come into it early on, but I thought there was going to be like a duo, because I honestly thought we were going to get multiple Wolverines. So like the Daniel Radcliffe Wolverine, the Eggsy from
God, they didn't do it.
Nope.
And all these. So I thought there was going to be like multiple people playing multiple characters. So I thought for a minute we would have Channing and Taylor Kitsch.
I would,
but once I saw the card come through, I was like, "This is Channing." Like the whole time I knew Channing was going to be in there just because of the relationship with Ryan. But yeah, I mean, it's so hard to speak to seeing your favorite character finally like in a suit. Like obviously I had Taylor Kitsch in the earlier movie, and I actually am one of the few who loved Taylor Kitsch in that role. I thought he was perfect. I thought he did a great job. But like to see your favorite character in full suit And then after that, to see him kicking ass, like that was just an extra added bonus. I will say too, though, I know we're talking Gambit here, but I just want to say, like, our theater went absolute bonkers for Blade as well when Blade came through. That was the biggest surprise for me. Like, I had no concept of that. But yeah, man. And then the fact that Gambit talked about himself, like he said, "Oh, you can call me the Gambit." Like, that was cool. Like, Gambit historically talks in the third person. So it was cool to see him kind of reference in that, like speak in that way too. So I thought they did fine. That was good. I thought it was good. It made me laugh. Although I did freak out when he walks out and he's kind of having that montage moment of like, they're finally going to have our end. And I'm hitting Sean and I'm like, oh no.
They're going to kill him.
I was just getting like one shot and he's gone.
And totally, dude. Because he goes, because he's like, oh, I finally get my moment, you know? Like, like
it just seemed like it was amping up.
Just, like he just gets blown up or something right at that point.
That's
they set it up so perfectly. Because then Wolverine even says, like, I don't think y'all are making it out of this.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, they're all about to just get blasted like Deadpool 2 style with X-Force, right?
That's like, exactly what I thought was gonna happen.
I think probably they might have had that like planned for that, but just decided not to.
And I'm glad they didn't, because again, for a long time fan, and like it just made me wish that like the Gambit movie had got made before they Fox got bought out. So but either way, it was amazing. It was
it's still great that when they're talking about how long they've all been in the void, and he's like, I think I was born in here, I don't remember.
That was so funny. Because he never had the chance
so long, I don't even remember.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we never got to fight for our worlds. He's like, oh, even be in one.
I've been ready since I was in mama.
Shout
out my dad into my mama.
So funny.
Yeah. I like it. Deadpool gets them all pumped to do it, and then Wolverine's just like, you're all gonna die. And read the room, man.
That's funny.
Read the room. So we get all those cameos, man. Of course, the Deadpool core. Later, Ryan Reynolds himself is Nice Pool, which was hilarious as well too. Just the no regenerative powers, just didn't wear a mask. I love it. He's like, where's your mask at? And he's like, hello. Like, why would I wear a mask? So let's just talk cameos overall, guys. Just kind of like thoughts on who popped up. Did it work for you? Did it work for the story? Like were we like really happy with what we got?
I will say, like, I was definitely happy with what I got. And I think the fact that I wanted more, I don't know, I just felt like maybe I'm asking too much, right? Like, I don't know how budgets work and how complicated it is to get different actors away to pop into a movie. And are they actually coming on set, or are they going to be filming elsewhere? Like getting all that worked out. I'm sure it's it's a nightmare, right? Heck, Frigginz and one other friend are having troubles like meeting up on Fridays for game night. So to pull all of those people together, it was dope. And I overall, I will say I was definitely happy with what I got. I think especially the Blade, for me, that excited me, and the line DX, and I told you too, like, there'll ever only be one Blade. And then he looks at the camera. I'm like, what does that mean? What does that mean?
And technically, there's been two.
There's only one Blade.
There's a TV show.
Yeah, the TV show. He forgot about Sticky Fingers over there.
I thought the dude, and somebody had said on the internet before the movie came out, and I'm like, stupid internet. But I guess he was Bullseye, the black dude with the thing on his head. I thought he was supposed to be Blade from like the TV show or something.
That's what they made it out to be in the still shots before the movie came out. Yeah, everybody's like, oh, they got the CW Blade over there.
Yeah,
It's Bullseye.
But no.
Speaking of budgets, what was hilarious is when they killed off Johnny. And he's like, you murdered him. And he's like, you know what he was doing to the budget? Fantastic, right? Getting Chris Evans on there. Like, we got to get him out of here, man. You know what he's doing to the budget?
That was perfect. Yeah. I don't know. It was great. And what was the little Ben Affleck joke? Like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Well, I have a
Punisher,
question.
Daredevil.
Mhm.
Out of all the cameos, we've been talking cameos. Like obviously, everyone knows my favorite is Gambit. But what is each of yours favorite cameo of the cameos? Who was the best for you?
I'd
I'm
say
gonna say
Gambit.
I'll
Also.
say Blade. Definitely my favorite. I mean, because I never in a million years thought they would do it. I
He didn't think
almost
he would do it.
I almost
Yeah.
even want to say Henry Cavill, but like,
Yeah,
no,
it was
I
just
think
too fast.
yeah, it was too fast and the beard was weird. But yeah, definitely hyped for the whole
Okay,
Blade
another
thing.
beard.
That's cool.
Yeah,
And
no, I
Don, you
love
said
Henry, man. You all know he was my boy. Yeah, like I was so stoked for it because I've said for years that I would love Henry Cavill to be Wolverine if they
Oh,
recast
yeah.
it. In
Yeah, I agree.
and I've seen some people speculate like, oh, is he the 616 Wolverine? But I know that we're not going down that road yet. But like, I
We
was
don't
so
know.
stoked. But yeah, I can't say favorite cameo just because it was just so damn fast. I wish he would have had a little bit more to do or maybe a bigger scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Blade is definitely the runner up for me as well too. I love all three of those Blade movies. They're classic to me. And having that go full circle and see him come back in and get another shot at it is super cool. But the Gambit, man, that was just special because we knew the story, we knew the backstory. Like I like Channing a lot, and it's just getting to see that on the big screen. And I like just the way it played out. Like he was just super funny. The action was incredible. So, like that first time he unfolds all the cards and they just all light up, and he's
That was
just chucking them, and then
Yeah.
just he goes boom, and then just everybody just starts blowing up.
That was
Like,
dope.
and he had the
yeah.
staff, and I was just like, oh my god, this is so fucking cool. Like to see. So yeah, it's hard to not
But like, if we
lean
never
that
see him again, like, I'm so glad that we were able to
yeah.
with this. And this is where I was saying, or everybody's saying, like, they did such a good job, like giving these characters the love I think that they deserve. Because yeah, it's I don't know. Do you guys think we'll ever see it again with Channing?
I don't know about Channing. I think we'll see a Gambit for sure.
Oh
But
yeah,
one thing that I thought was really cool is Channing. He posted something recently where he was like basically saying thank you to Ryan. Like,
I sent you that.
yeah. Oh, that's right. Don, you sent it to me.
Yeah.
He said something along the lines of like, this was a lifelong dream for him, and he was just really appreciated that Ryan let him put it into real life. And I just thought that was
Fulfill
really
that
cool.
dream.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
man.
awesome.
Because it was like, and then those pictures, it was like 10 years ago at Comic-Con when they announced the movie, and then to this Comic-Con, and he's wearing the same
It's the
Gambit
same
shirt.
shirt. I wanted to get
so
that damn
cool.
shirt.
Right. Yeah, no, that was
just
cool,
his
man.
shirt,
Yeah,
right?
It says like "Watch your pocket" or something like that.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, great stuff, man. The cameos, yeah, I was just so happy that the cameos all played a purpose in the movie. And it wasn't just oh, look who's here, look who's here, look who's here, and then just we're off, Like when Chris Evans wasn't dead after he broke his neck somehow, and he was in that next scene, I was like, oh my god, like he's in another scene. Like I was so impressed that he had stuck around,
Yeah.
and was in it for like almost 10 minutes. Like I was like, that's crazy. So and then they even get in that battle sequence of everybody else, that it wasn't just like, hey, here's how you're gonna get out the void. Go get Juggernaut's helmet and good luck, and then they just stay back. And it was like, no, like here's all of our last stand kind of, and we're gonna fight, to get these guys back to their universe, which I also love too that when they said there was 4 of them and he's like, tell me it's Magneto, please tell me, and they're like,
Oh, yeah.
he's dead. Fuck. Well, someone's got to be around, right? Oh, she melted that down too. Fuck.
Yeah.
So angry. Like, oh man.
Was it a rumor that She-Hulk and Captain Marvel both had scenes in this that were cut? Or
yeah,
somebody
I had heard
that they had shot something, but I never believed that. It wouldn't have made any fucking sense. They didn't really do
I didn't see where they would even put that.
Yeah. I do like though when Eliath was coming and he's like, "Oh, Eliath from Loki season 1, episode 5."
Episode 5,
He's
yeah.
so specific about it.
Oh, that was another nitpick. The TVA was so much better in Loki. Like they were able to like remember when they captured Loki, they like froze him in time, and he was like moving all super slow. It's like, yeah, you're gonna feel all that real time. But yeah, they can't do that to Deadpool. It's fine. Different TVA, different faction. They were broken away from the main TVA group, so they didn't have as much technology.
Yeah.
Well, they made it seem like each universe has its own TVA. So that was just the TVA for that Earth,
I thought TVA
10,005
existed
or
for all
whatever.
the universe.
Yeah, I
It
thought so
does, but I
too.
think they're different branches. Like that's why they all reported to the chick from Loki at the end.
Okay,
Like that's what she was like, who's in charge of that district, and then it's like, oh, Paradox, oh shit, like
I
so,
gotcha.
Morbius has the sacred timeline and all that kind of stuff, and then
Sure.
each kind of multiverse could
I
have its
guess
own.
now they
Right.
would, right? Because before it was just one timeline. So now that it's all branched, I guess now they would have multiple. Okay.
And speaking of nitpicks again, like that does make me feel like too, because when the TVA first grabs Wade and he wakes up and he's like, "Where am I?" and Paradox is like, "Oh, you're at the TVA," and he's like, "Oh, are you mad because I was using Cable's like time jumpy thing?" And he's like, "No, we don't care about that." Like I was like, "What? This is the TVA. They would have fucking totally cared about that
Would
because he
have
was
been.
jumping around fucking with timelines. Isn't that the
Yeah,
whole point of the TVA?" So like
exactly.
that kind of bugged me that he was just like, "Oh, we don't even care about that," because that should have totally been why they went after Wade.
That's funny. I actually like that because it was like what everyone was guessing, and they were like, "Y'all are wrong. We're doing something different."
I
I
know,
don't
but it
know. I
doesn't
thought it
make
was
sense
cool.
in the
But like
continuity of the TVA because it was supposed to
exactly.
be if you're fucking with timelines, we're coming after you. He
That's
went back
why
and he saved people. He like brought back the X Force. He like killed the Logan from or the Deadpool from X-Men Origins Wolverine. Like he was fucking with shit all over the
But at
multiverse.
yeah.
that point, Paradox is trying to get Wade on board with him. And I think that's more along the
Yeah.
lines of what it was. Like, you think you're in trouble because of this, but like he needs him for a different purpose. So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna throw that away. We're gonna
Well,
ignore
like
that. That's
I
the
mean,
way
he
I
could
kind of
he could have used that like, yes, you're here for this reason, but I can
Right.
tell that
but
you don't give a fuck about timelines. So because
Yeah.
of that, I could use your help. I don't something like that.
There you go.
I thought it was
I like
great.
it. Didn't make sense in the continuity of things. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anything else on cameos? I mean, like that was
I mean, with all
great
the
shit.
Deadpools, I was
Yeah.
first of all, let me go ahead and say I called the Chris Evans cameo. Friggins,
He
tell him.
did. He did. It was
Nice.
funny as he told me he said that it was going to be a ruse and that it was going to end up being human. And even though he told us that like the day of or the day before, I don't remember which, I completely forgot by the time we were in the theater.
It was
So
right before
as
the
soon
theater.
as it happened, I was like, "Oh, he did say that."
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
for
what I'm
the
saying. They do a
Deadpools,
good job swerving.
I was excited to see Headpool. Like that was, I think, the one out of all of the Deadpools. Not Kidpool, not Lady, not Dog, none of them. Just Headpool. I was
Be
super
cool,
excited
man.
about that one.
I didn't care about any of the Deadpools other than Deadpool.
Yeah.
Like it was
Nice.
cool. I mean, it was cool and it was fun, but like I could care less. The only Deadpool I like is regular Deadpool.
Deadpool Prime here.
Not little arm Deadpool.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great. Dude,
No,
I
that was
love so I don't know, like Fred seems to be very blah on the sequence, but I thought that sequence was one of the greatest things I've fucking ever
I'm
seen.
with
It
you,
was
I
DX.
fun.
loved it.
It
Just
was
the setup to it of the Madonna song coming in, right? Like we saw it the beginning of it in the trailer, but as soon as he reaches back and he starts to pull that cowl fucking up, it was just
Oh,
it was on like Donkey Kong, man. Like it just and then Deadpool's face, like, holy shit, like where did that come from? Like that is so cool. Like you're saving the good shit, and he's like, yeah, for
yeah,
killing.
holding out.
And it goes into the slow motion. He throws the claws out and he's got his guns. He's got the gold guns from Nice Pool that he said, over my dead body, you'll get these, and he got
Yeah.
them over
you
his
got
dead
him.
body. And then just like, here we go, maximum effort, let's do it, right? And it just has that old school kind of video game side scroll, which I just love.
That
This
was
the
cool.
sequence of it all, man. It's just
Very old
violent.
boy
And
like. Mhm.
yeah, man, just craziness of just all of them just getting murked, and it's just such a cool moment, man. Then right out the back of the bus in slow motion, and then Wade just face plants at the end of it. He's like, "Damn it, I didn't stick the landing." Uh,
As much as I
and then
like
it's
that
funny too.
that thing, I hated Wolverine's arms. Like I
Yeah,
know it's
I agree.
comic book, but like
Yeah,
it was
he's all like,
so
"Ah."
That mask
I
looks
thought so
so
too.
good though. That
it was
mask
good.
was
Yeah,
so good. And
yeah.
the eyes,
He's
they
like,
got
"How
the eyes right.
intimidating is that?" Right? It's like Batman, but he can move his neck.
Yeah. But the fact that they gave him the white eyes was so perfect, which makes me even more mad that they actually didn't do Gambit's eyes right. But the that they whited out the mask guys was like so perfect.
Yeah, even
so
like
perfect.
shirtless, like with just mask.
Yeah,
really good.
That was badass.
Yeah, no, it was. It's funny because, like I said, like you're so immersed into the movie that sometimes you forget about stuff. And like I had honestly like forgot about the mask, even though we had seen pictures and
same.
we saw the merch and all that stuff. And now we're getting to the last 15 minutes of the movie. I hadn't even thought about it. And then as soon as he put his hands behind his head, I was like, "Oh shit, the mask!" And like every time I saw the movie, the theater went nuts when he put that thing on. It was just so cool, man. Like and goes back to the beginning of the film when he's like, it only took 20 fucking years to get here, right? But we got here.
I love too awesome. When Deadpool's like talking shit about his suit, like, oh, you're wearing long sleeves and like to cover up the body, and then at the end he's like super ripped and he's like, ooh.
The way he leans back and looks, and then he looks at he's all
That's awesome.
That sequence is so good, man. The way the music plays, even though it's very Guardians of the Galaxy #1, right?
God, like totally with, like, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Even the lines of the energy
holding hands,
holding hands, absorbing it, right? Oh, you would have died if it was just one of you, but since it was the two of you doing it, you were able to survive. But the sequence is so great nonetheless, even though it is a retread. But it's just the way the music goes, because it goes into that weird kind of chorus, kind of gospel part of the song, and Deadpool's ready to sacrifice himself. Logan comes in, grabs him, the shirt blows off, so you still get a comedic moment of like, damn, like how ripped he is, the
window.
I think I'm stalling because I'm just afraid to die. And it's just that whole sequence is just so peak, and the way it's edited, and even flashing to Cassandra, and she's like tripping out because it's all fucking shorting out and everything, and she's getting like over kind of done, and it's just flashing between the three of them. It just was shot so cool, and she's and then they're all like, it just that I just love the way that was filmed and edited, and just the montage of it with the music. It just creates that peak kind of like culmination of the movie. And I love it because then it blows up, and the B-15 or whatever from Loki comes in, and she's like, what happened here? And he's just like, I tried to stop it, and he's like, my friends were even down there and they died sacrificing themselves, and you get he has risen, baby girl, and they come out to the fuck, to the Goo Goo Doll song, which was just hilarious. And that one guy from the TVA that was oogling Wade at the beginning is now oogling Hugh Jackman. And he's just like,
were you calling your wife? No, HR. Your wife working HR?
Your wife working HR?
Good stuff.
There's just so many quirky moments like that, man. It just that's why it just sticks with you, dude. It's just one of those movies, man. It's just the lines just come through and you just start laughing. You just start thinking about like the quotes and the different jabs and the the things that are said throughout this movie, man.
I think for me, like one of the funniest moments that just pops up in my head randomly at work, and at the moment, like I was laughing so hard in the theaters when he said, like, I'm be Marvel Jesus and I get to go through everything, and he said, hold on one moment. He walks over to the camera, he's like, fucking suck it, Fox, and then the camera.
I'm going to Disneyland.
Then just skips back over, like, what the fuck just happened? And it's just the way that transitioned, it was so funny, man. I like it.
When they first got to the TVA also, and he says, like, Logan's kind of knocked out at that point, and then he stands up and he's like, oh, Logan's up. He's like, welcome to the MCU, by the way. Kind of at a low point, but welcome. Takes that first dig at Marvel, which I was just like, holy shit, man, that they're let him like say something like that. And then they kind of do it again before that Deadpool fight also, right? Where they're before the Deadpool core part, where they're talking about, he's like, all right, let's be honest, the multiverse isn't really working, right? Like, and he gives the whole speech, and Nicepool's like, I thought it's been pretty solid ever since Endgame.
And then like, what they say before that, like cocaine is off the table, or using it or stuff like that. So one thing Feige said was off the table.
All the nicknames. They know all the nicknames. Do you want to build a snowman? Yes, I do, but I can't.
But I can't. No, it's good stuff. I mean, this is one of those movies where the joy and the fun of the experience just completely erases in my mind any of the like major failures, and that's the
Yeah,
thing. It's like
totally.
you talk a lot, Don, on your show about like what was it intended to do and what's the audience and what's the like like when you're talking about a kids movie or something, and in this instance it was intended to make us laugh and to be entertained, and really plot and story is stuff that comes secondary to all of those factors. This is like the blockbuster spectacle that you want to go in and just enjoy. I think, I can't even remember the walking out of a theater with that much of just like enjoyment, like steaming off of us all. Like everybody came out there smiling, laughing, feeling good. And it was just, what a wonderful experience to have. And to make it even better for me is the fact that it was rated R. And I just hate that Hollywood thinks that the rated R movies aren't going to do good and make less money because less people are going to go see it. And they did it perfectly.
My kids.
Exactly. Like this is a rated R movie that, you could take kids to. Questionable, maybe. And I was just like,
make those decisions. We're not saying it's wrong or
yeah,
right.
exactly. It's
judge us.
questionable.
We
I
won't
did
judge
say
you.
questionable.
Exactly.
But and then to stick it to him by like making $1 bazillion, like it's like, yes, okay, this is what I'm talking about. You can have a rated R movie, be amazing, and everyone just walk out happy. And like I said, to me, it takes away any of the negatives critically that stand out. I know not for everybody. There's always going to be some naysayers out there, but I think the mass public is speaking that this is a thing that people wanted. Yeah.
97% audience on Rotten Tomatoes. Like,
that's pretty amazing.
Like everybody's pretty much digging this movie. There's not a single person I know personally that has watched this and been like, nah, it didn't work for me.
Yeah,
like, everybody is like, oh my god, like I can't wait to see it again.
I mean, people that I don't even know, like don't even normally go to the movies, are telling me they wouldn't watch this movie. Like, like that's
people awesome. That aren't even fans of this franchise are asking me, hey, did you go see that movie that I know you probably saw? Yeah. I'm thinking about going to see it, and it's just weird how big Deadpool is at this point. Like I know Frigginz and we've been seeing Deadpool like for a while now, but like the fact that he is like right there next to like Spider-Man and Superman in terms of like popularity, that's nuts to me.
I was telling Peeps, I got a toy of Deadpool back in the day, and I remember people being like, who's that? Why does Spider-Man have guns? And like, and it's so cool that now he's more popular than many other superheroes that you would think would be more popular than him. It's amazing.
No, it is. It's super, super cool. So then, we get towards the end here. We get, it's say a mid-credit scene, but it's really a montage of kind of, again, we said this movie was a love letter to the Fox universe, and that's really what this montage is. It's behind the scenes footage of the making of a lot of the Fox movies, a lot of the X-Men's and Hugh Jackman's first day on set, and an old school interview of Ryan Reynolds, getting to be Wade back in Origins, and saying, I always wanted to be this character, and and you get to see this kind of full circle moment, and it's playing the Green Day song, which just went with it so well, and it's just like it actually made me very emotional watching this part of the movie. I was like, I couldn't believe how much I was like, man, I really enjoyed all this stuff, and kind of seeing it kind of get its due. So really nice, instead of kind of doing a traditional kind of mid-credits, that they did this really sweet montage for a couple minutes there. And then we get to the post-credits at the end, which goes back to Deadpool at the TVA, and he's like, I'm tired of everybody saying that I'm the one that got Johnny killed, but he did say all that stuff, and I have the proof. And he shows the footage, and Chris Evans doing the full montage of everything Deadpool said he said. And
was there more stuff? Like
there was more stuff. Yeah,
there was a lot more stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
He says like so much stuff, and then and I love that he's just, and Deadpool's just egging him on the whole time, right? He's looking at the camera and he's like,
really?
Go on. Really? He did, and then what? Pushing him to go on, and he does the whole thing, and at the end he's like, suck it, right? Like, and then it's like that's the end of the, and it's super funny, man. What a great way to wrap it up. I expected something similar like that for a Deadpool kind of post credits. So what'd you guys think about these two kind of segments here?
I thought they were going to do the Thor crying over Deadpool.
Oh, yeah.
thing.
Oh yeah.
But no, I definitely agree. I mean, like them confirming that he did say all those things, and like I said, I took my kiddos, and they're just like, oh, he did say it all.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it was just it was so good. And then Chris Evans, man, like his delivery on those kinds of lines, like it was just so snarky and spot on. Like it was so good.
I
It
liked
was fun.
his heavy New York accent with the character this
Boston.
time.
He's from
I'm
Boston.
sorry, yeah. And I just thought it was awesome that he had brought that accent to it. And then also, I really liked the mid-credit like montage thing. You know, I also got way more emotional than I anticipated with something like that. And in some ways, it's actually made me rethink like my experiences with the X franchise specifically, but even some of those older Fox. And even though we have complained about them through the years and talked trash through the years, in a way, like I don't know why or how, but this movie and capped off with that mid-credit scene has almost made me appreciate them even more. And you know, like I feel a little bit more nostalgia towards those older films than I think I did before this happened. And it's like you don't really know what you have until it's gone a lot of the times. And I feel like that was you know, the first X-Men movie came out in 2000. And so we've been, you know, that's been a huge factor of our lives and, you know, over half my life. So it's just, you know, to finally kind of realize that it's gone and we're moving on to different things. It's just, I don't know, something about that just gave me the feels. And again, it's definitely made me appreciate the older ones a little bit more.
Yeah, I definitely liked it. The scene.
Yeah.
But it didn't make me appreciate those movies anymore.
That's fair.
I mean, I you know how I have my own salty, you know, mindset of it, and I will say, like, I think the first two are fine. Like they are good movies, especially for the time. But like it definitely had me think back to my mindset, and I remember going in and watching those movies and hearing the ting sound when Logan was punching people or getting punched in the face, and they're like, oh, I know why that's
yeah that's good stuff.
That's great stuff, man.
Yeah. He had to pause out.
Peeps.
Well, he'll probably jump back in.
He's trying.
He's working on it. And he's back. All right. Technical difficulties.
So let's talk box office, man. God damn, Deadpool Wolverine debuting to $211 million. Making it the sixth highest domestic debut of all time. And the global box office just in those first 3 days at $444 million. I mean, it already has crossed the $500 million mark. This thing is well on its way to $1 billion. There's no doubt there. But just seeing the amount of box office on this thing, you know, the preview night, that Thursday preview night, when I think we all saw it the first time, it made like 36 million on that preview night, which was just insane. And then the first full day being Friday, it made $96 million just on that Friday alone.
That's wild.
Which just set it up for like, oh shit, this is going to hit 200 mil. And at the end of Sunday, they were like, okay, it did like 205, 206 million. And then when Monday rolled around and they got the final totals, it was like, damn, did even more than that. It hit 211, which again is just like biggest R-rated debut of all time. I mean, it's just, and smashed it. Like the previous record was the first Deadpool movie at like 133, and this thing made 211. So, I mean, just goes to show you, you know, for everybody that said, you know, Marvel fatigue and superhero fatigue and all this stuff, and nobody wants to see these movies anymore. Here you go, biggest debut of the year, 211 mil. This thing's going to be at $1 billion within the next week. It is insane.
I said that we wanted to see good ones, peeps, and this was a good one.
Guardians 3 is too.
It was a good one.
Yes,
yeah, man, that is nuts. Frigginz, at the San Diego Comic-Con, those tickets that they had for that showing, folks didn't have to pay for that, right?
No, San Diego Comic-Con had a special event on Thursday night where I think they screened the film. And
You talking
you,
about the panel with Ryan and all that?
yeah. So if you had a
they
ticket, you could
streamed
put
it.
in for a raffle to try and get picked to go. So I put in for the raffle to try and get in it, and not realizing it was on Thursday because we already had the movie tickets. So I didn't get picked anyway. So
But that's 6,000 people plus, that can fit into that place that, they didn't buy any tickets, and
that's
the
true.
movie's still doing as good as it is.
Yeah,
So
that's a good point.
I think they knew.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
knew. They knew what they had. Special stuff. All right, guys. Final thoughts and scores as we go around the table here. I'll just, like I said at the beginning of the show, man, 5 out of 5. Like, there's no doubt about it. Like, this gave me everything I possibly could have wanted in a Deadpool movie. My first 5 out of 5 for the year of 2024. Absolutely, like I said, it gave me everything I wanted. Smile on my face, gave me heart. It gave me action. It gave me some great surprises. Like, it's just, this is why I go to the movies. There hasn't been a movie in a long time that I've wanted to go back and have a repeat viewing on. And like I said, done it 3 times already. I'm sure a 4th is in my future, and who knows from there. But man, absolutely loved it. So big thumbs up from this guy right here. So Frigginz, what you got?
I'm right there with you, man. I got to go 5 out of 5. Like I said, whatever flaws I could find in it, it doesn't take away from the full experience. You gave me Gambit. I got live action, Remy LeBeau, and he was kicking the butt, and I was awesome. Yeah, you gave me Age of Apocalypse. You gave me comic references. You gave me Wolverine in a costume with a mask. I mean, there's not much more. I mean, I could ask for a lot more. Don't get me wrong, but like they did it right. And so I walked out happy as can be, and you can't really ask much more than that. 5 out of 5.
All right, Peeps.
Yeah. I mean, I know I did have the most nitpickies of the issues with this movie, but as much negative as I can say about this movie, I definitely recognize its accomplishments. I mean, for Disney to take a risk like this, to release a movie where they reference cocaine and drop the F-bomb. What was it? 115 times, I think
119 times or
something
118.
like that.
Yeah, 118 because we got the one from Guardians. So 119.
It's a huge risk, and it's not even like they're doing this under that, searchlight, where it's like Disney adjacent. Like they might as well have had the castle and the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows this is Disney, and it just like I think it was a huge. I think for us, we're like, just do it. Like, it's not a risk. But for the executives, I'm sure they're like, oh, we're gonna regret this. But I'm glad they did it, and I hate being happy for millionaires, but like, good on Ryan for being able to release this, kind of help write it. The director, Sean Levy,
yeah.
And then Hugh Jackman, like, he gives it in this movie. And
yes,
when he's talking to in the car telling Deadpool his feelings and his emotion, like, he's killing, like, in a movie where you don't think it's a Deadpool silly buddy cop movie, like, he's just killing these scenes. And
he was fantastic.
And I even have like theories that I was talking to Frigginz about like what an actual anchor being means, and how it being a representation of an important character in our world. Like, if Logan and then Fox, gets sold, their anchor being's gone, and there will never. Anyways, I have all these theories on it, and I just think that's fun and neat. And I think like a movie like this can be enjoyed for a long time. This isn't going to be the last time I've watched it twice. I think that's the most I've seen any movies this year in theaters. And I definitely want to go again, and I'm sure my kiddos are going to want to see it again. So for that, but like I said, I do have a lot of nitpickies, so that does adjust my score. I'm just kidding. It's a 5, like, no doubt.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Good movie.
Yeah, my daughter's bugging the hell out of me every day. When can we go see it again? Soon, child. I gotta give a week breather at least, and then we'll get back.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I'll be ready all over again. And it's cool too, because honestly, each time I've seen it in something different. So, number one, the first time I saw it in IMAX. Number 2, I saw it in the Prime Theater in 3D, and then the third time in D-Box. So I was trying to mix it up and do at least a different showing of something each and every time.
We saw IMAX for the first time. That was really cool.
Hell yeah.
They messed up the screen. I thought they messed up the screen.
They did. So they messed up the screen before our showing, and like when the Captain America trailer came on, it was like all green and purple. You couldn't even see like what was happening, and I was getting scared. I was like, they're gonna mess this movie up, and then they finally like did a fix. So I think it could have been a little bit better, like picture, but it was still good enough.
Yeah.
But anyway,
we had a similar issue on ours that for opening night in IMAX too. Somebody had spilled something or did something in the theater from the previous showing, so they were like trying to clean it up and they wouldn't let nobody in the theater. So like movie's about to start in like 5 minutes and we're all standing out in the lobby and they're just like, please wait, we're gonna be there, just hold on. Then they finally let us all in and trailers were playing already, but the screen was black. And they were talking about how it was storming here and some of the other screens had gone out in the movie theater. And I was like sitting there in the seat, and this is a totally sold out showing, and we're all sitting there watching a black screen, and I'm getting so fucking nervous. I'm like, oh my God, dude, of all movies, if this fucking thing doesn't turn on, I'm gonna be so pissed, you know. And then finally, like 3 trailers in, the screen lit up, and I was like, oh thank God, because I was getting, oh man, we were very, very worried there for a minute, for sure.
Same with us.
I know I was.
Yeah.
All right, and as we always do with every Marvel spoiler review, we do a little countdown at the end. We revise our list. It is now 34 films in the MCU. So where does Deadpool and Wolverine lie in 34 films? So we will go around and we'll wrap this thing here. Peeps, I'll start off with you, man. What you got? 34 films. Where does Deadpool and Wolverine fall?
All right. Well, let's do this. And we were talking about this a little bit off air. Like I'm thinking my rating may adjust. But let's start. Let's do this. And think of it like 4 years or so. Like this part's going to take us like at least.
I know.
Become its own podcast.
We may have to just do the top 20 at some point.
Yeah, the 60 movies of Marvel.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Number 34, we got Iron Man 2. 33, we got the first Thor movie. 32, Iron Man 3. 31, the first Captain Marvel. 30 is The Incredible Hulk. 29 is The Marvels. 28 is Eternals. 27 is Thor Dark World. 26 is the first Captain America First Avenger. We have 25 at Black Widow. 24, Doctor Strange. 23, Ant-Man 3. 22, we have Thor Ragnarok. 21, we have Thor Love and Thunder. And now we get to the point where like all good movies, but like I don't know what to do with them. Number 20 is I have Avengers 2. What's that? That's
Ultron.
Civil War. Age of Ultron. Okay. 19 is Ant-Man 2. 18, Spider-Man 2. 17, the original Ant-Man, and 16 is where I'll put Deadpool and Wolverine.
Ooh, okay.
Number 15, top 15 now is Captain America 3. That's Civil War. 14 is the first Spider-Man Homecoming. 13 is Black Panther. 12 is Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. 11 is Shang-Chi. 10 is Iron Man. 9 is Avengers. 8, Black Panther 2. 7's Guardians 2. 6, Spider-Man 3. Now we're in top 5. Number 5 is Endgame. Number 4 is the first Guardians. Number 3, third Guardians. Number 2, Captain America Winter Soldier. And number 1, Infinity War.
Woo!
Wow. Third Guardians over first Guardians. Interesting.
Yeah, man.
He loves it.
Cried hard.
All right, Frigginz, how's yours play out?
All right, so I too may adjust mine as well. I was having a hard time finding it here, but currently I have 34 Iron Man 2, 33 Iron Man 3, 32 Eternals, 31 Thor Dark World, 30 is The Incredible Hulk, 29 Ant-Man Quantumania, 28 Captain Marvel, 27 Thor Love and Thunder, 26 Ant-Man and Wasp, 25 Spider-Man Far From Home, 24 The Marvels, 23 Black Widow, 22 Avengers Age of Ultron, 21 Doctor Strange. So now top 20. Thor. That's the first one. Number 19, Wakanda Forever. Number 18, Guardians 3. 17, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Number 16, Ant-Man. Number 15, Guardians 2. Number 14, Spider-Man No Way Home. Number 13, Black Panther. Number 12, Thor Ragnarok. And 10 and 11 is where I'm like really struggling with these, but as of right now, 11, Captain America the First Avenger, and 10.
Way too high.
I love that one. I can watch it over and over. 10 is where I'm putting Deadpool and Wolverine right now.
Right.
So it broke my top 10. Then I have
Right.
Shang-Chi at 9, Avengers at 8, Civil War at 7, Iron Man at 6, Spider-Man Homecoming at 5, Avengers Infinity War at 4, Endgame at 3, Winter Soldier at 2, and the first Guardians of the Galaxy is my number 1.
Man, good. All right. And yeah, here we go, man. 34 films. It's always crazy to see how these all play out with everybody
Right?
every single time.
Yeah.
And as the other two guys have said, this could definitely where Deadpool Wolverine lands kind of can shift. This was kind of really spontaneous right before we did the show. I was kind of like, where do I place this? So trying to
I've
figure
been
it out.
thinking about it all week, man.
And I have too. That's why I didn't place it until tonight because I was
Right,
like, I don't know where I'm
same.
gonna put this.
Yeah.
I've been stressing it because yeah, I don't know if I'm just riding a super high or like like where we go like a subsequent viewings kind of at home and not in the theater with a bunch of cool people. Like I want to see kind of how it plays out. So we'll see. So countdown 34 at number 34. Captain America: The First Avenger, dead last right there at 34. Number 33, Iron Man 3. Number 32, The Incredible Hulk. 31, Black Widow. Number 30, Eternals. Number 29, Thor: The Dark World. Number 28 is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Number 27 is Iron Man 2. 26, Thor. 25, Captain Marvel. 24, The Marvels. 23, Doctor Strange. 22, Ant-Man. 21, Ant-Man and the Wasp. 20, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. 19, Black Panther. 18, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. 17, Shang-Chi. Number 16, Spider-Man Far From Home. Number 15, Iron Man. 14, Thor: Love and Thunder. 13, Spider-Man Homecoming. 12, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. 11, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Number 10, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Number 9, Spider-Man No Way Home. Number 8, Thor Ragnarok. Number 7, Civil War Captain America.
Wow.
Number 6, Guardians of the Galaxy.
What?
Wow.
Number
Broke top
5, Deadpool and Wolverine. Number 5.
Nice.
That's where it slid in right there.
Nice.
And then, of course, our Avengers films. Number 4, Avengers Age of Ultron. Number 3, Avengers. Number 2, Endgame. And number 1, Infinity War. So, yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine, man, as I was sliding it, I was like, okay, more. I like that more. I like that more. I like that more. Oh, shit. Again, like I said, definitely, I think we're riding the high a little bit. I've seen it 3 times. It's all I've been thinking about for the last week. So I feel like it definitely slid in very high. It could slide down a little bit because it's hard, man, once you get into that top 10, and you're talking about things like, Guardians of the Galaxy and Civil War and Ragnarok and Far From Home and or No Way Home, things like that you're just like, man, how does this play against all these films really at the end of the day?
Yeah.
But for right now, number 5, baby, that's just where the gut landed it. So that's our updated MCU countdown, my friends. Next year in 2025, we'll be kicking off the year with Captain America: Brave New World, and then we'll have Thunderbolts coming out once we kick off the summer, and of course the Fantastic Four. So we got 3 movies next year. We went from 1 back to 3. Now before we wrap up, I kind of teased it a little bit earlier, but I gotta say, real quick, bonus right here. Tony Stark coming back over here. Robert Downey Jr., Dr. Doom coming back for Avengers. Now we know it is Avengers Doomsday, which was a really cool kind of announcement. Peeps, I know you were there, waited 48 hours in line to get into Hall H and was ready for it. Yeah. And but we got the big announcement. We did get the confirmation. It had been rumored for weeks that the Russo brothers were going to come back. We got that done. It is signed and sealed. They are doing both Avengers movies, number 5 and 6. Of course, same guys that did 3 and 4, and did Winter Soldier and did Civil War. So like, and the same writers coming back. So we're bringing back the whole team. We're gonna do. Of course, they confirmed Secret Wars, which we already knew. But then there was another little Avengers movie called The Kang Dynasty that they said, we're not going to talk about that. And now it is Avengers Doomsday. And of course, to do Doomsday, the room turned green. We got to get a Doom. And they announced Robert Downey Jr. coming back to play Victor Von Doom. What is the thoughts here, man? Let's keep it brisk, but we had to talk about it. This is the hot news of the week. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Where's our head at with this breaking news here? I'll start with Peeps because he was in the room. So tell me, man, like what were you thinking when this news dropped?
Like it definitely hit out of nowhere. I mean, I'm there standing up, screaming over everything else they've announced and I've seen so far. Energy is definitely high, and they did, and I'm sure you guys have seen the videos of the way that they presented this, and specifically the Russos, like they're like, there's a character that we want to introduce, the most important character possibly to all of fiction, and I'm like, who are they talking? Like, my brain isn't computing. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. And then, then the Doom Acolytes come out, and then it says Doomsday, and I'm like, yo. So I'm excited. I'm like, all right, that's the big news. And then like, well, we gotta, who's going to play this character? And then I'm like recording it. I mess up my video. I'm like, The Rock? Like,
yeah. Henry Cavill.
Yeah, I know. And then they show Robert Downey. And in all honesty, like at that moment, and even still to this day when I'm clear-headed, I think that is a great choice. People can't separate him from Iron Man possibly, but you have to understand he is an actor. He can act like another character that is not Iron Man. And I was talking to a comic book, or a guy at the comic book shop the other day, and he mentioned that he was upset about it, but once he realized, like, we're probably never going to see his face. Like when Doom has the mask on, he just lives in that mask. And the fact that we might get that Mandalorian kind of treatment with this character, where I think we should, though. I think we should.
The MCU, man. Nobody keeps their fucking mask on. No, sorry. And you don't pay Robert Downey Jr. $100 million to stay under a mask. He's
that's just the thing. Like, you don't, like, he doesn't have to. I don't know. You don't have to be under that mask. I don't know, dude. I whatever they end up doing with it, I am so excited. Though I will say my only nitpick: whenever I think of Doom, I think of a physically intimidating being. Like when he enters a room, he turns heads because he is like this kind of bigger than life type of villain. But whatever, that's my nitpick. I'm done with it at this point. I'm super stoked and excited.
Oh yeah, awesome.
And I don't even like Doom. I'm gonna say that I don't even like Doom, and I'm excited.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm not a big Fantastic Four fan myself. I am very excited for this new one though, and the number one thing that I was excited for in dealing with anything Fantastic Four related was Doom. Like that's the one thing I wanted to see done right. We've never got a good Doom. And honestly, I unfortunately and sadly have to admit that I'm in the camp that is not happy with RDJ being cast. My fear is that it is just another version of Tony Stark, and I don't like that. I know what I heard your new episode, Don, and how it makes sense, and I get it, but I just wanted another character. I'm tired of like always having these connections of like, oh, it was my brother, or oh, it's my sister, or it's my there. You don't have to have these crazy connections. It could just be a different person. And it's, and I was really excited for a different actor to come in and make their own mark on that. That being said, I love Downey. And when he comes out and it's amazing, I'm probably going to be eating my words later, but that's my initial gut reaction. Not excited.
Yeah. Yeah,
Sure.
and I mean, and that shares what the internet is at right now. I mean, it's a pretty
I don't want to
50-50
be the
split.
same as the internet though.
You're
Like,
the internet.
No,
You're
but
I
it's
the
a
don't want
50,
to
that's
be.
what I'm saying. It's a 50-50 split though across the internet, where 50% say it's great and 50% say, I wish it was, its own actor, I am definitely of the mind that I'm excited for it. I mean, I can't wait to hear more. I can't wait to see how they do it, right? Because there is so many ways. I mean, on one hand, Fred, he could have nothing to do with Tony Stark and
True.
just look kind of like him, that throws everybody off, right? Like, what the fuck? Like, that's kind of crazy, right? Like, I mean, even the way he came out of Comic-Con, right? He's got no facial hair, his hair's a little lighter. Like, he doesn't have to look like Tony, like he
True.
could just play a different character. On the other hand, I want him to be a variant of Tony Stark because I think it plays better into the storyline, right? I
Sure.
think I talked about it on my new podcast show, like that. Like I just think about Avengers fighting this guy that looks like their friend, and having to deal with that, right? Like Spider-Man seeing him take that mask off and being like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? And just like the guy he had mourned over for years is right in front of him as his latest villain, right? Like, can you think of like an opening to that Avengers movie where he murders fucking Pepper like in the first 5 minutes or something to set up how evil he is, right? And there's like right in front of his daughter or something, right? Like, I mean, they can play this in so many ways, and he could just, we're in a multiverse saga, why not be a variant, right? That just went down a different path, or like I said, like just parents died at a young age, he got adopted, and he got adopted by the Von Dooms, and now he's that's why he's got a different name, right? But he still is a Stark in lineage, and in that universe, he's a Von Doom. There's so many different ways that can kind of play it, and I think it opens the door for a lot of really cool and exciting things, rather than just, I would have been excited either way. I mean, I've been excited to see who they were going to get for Doom and
Sure.
what direction they were going to go. But when that rumor popped up a couple weeks ago that this might happen, I was like, I hated it at first. And then the more I thought about it, the more I marinated on it, I was like, this could be a really cool narrative thing to do. And that makes it very exciting, right? That we're going to get him in at least 2 more Avengers movies. The rumors that he will be in the end credit scene in Fantastic Four to kind of introduce it, right? So like, it's cool, man. It's exciting. And again, with the Russos coming back and the same writer writing the movie, like, it gets me excited to see, hey, these are the guys that brought 2 of the best comic book movies out. Let's see what they'd roll with next, for these Doomsday into Secret Wars.
Yeah.
And that's where my faith lies too, is within those guys, because they're specifically bringing them back. I'm a little bit more comfortable. Again, I still feel like I wish I had a different person, but the fact that they're bringing those guys in to run the show, all right, they did us right so far.
There you go. Awesome stuff, man. Overall, how was that Hall H presentation there, peeps?
Man, I'll say overall, like it was really hype and exciting. I got to see a Thunderbolts trailer. I got to see a new Captain America trailer that showed some additional Red Hulk footage that just blew my mind. Like, it looks so good, and just like the Hulk encapsulates Mark Ruffalo's face, like you see Harrison Ford in the Red Hulk, and it's terrifying and amazing. I can't wait for you guys to see it.
Did they show the leader at all in that trailer?
No, not at all.
They're still hiding him? Jeez.
Not even a little bit. Like, I know in the last trailer they showed like the back of his head, but
back of his head, yeah, you see the green guy.
Yeah, no, they haven't shown anything at all. Yeah, and them kind of teasing, the Sentry and the Thunderbolts, and then even when they announced the Russo brothers, like, we have an announcement for you guys, but we want to show you guys a little clip, and they showed like Captain America, Winter Soldier, and then they showed clips of like every movie the Russo brothers touched, and it was like this cool, and we just knew what was coming next. And then when it was done, then they announced it, and yeah, man, like, it was definitely exciting. I will say a little bit disappointed that we didn't get in Phase 7. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
We didn't, but we got the D23 coming up, so maybe we might.
That's the thing, man. D23 is coming up. That's their own convention, so they're going to save the big dogs for that one. Yeah. So I think we're going to get a lot of casting and announcements, and hopefully like Shang-Chi 2 and a lot of other stuff that they're planning. Not Eternals.
Stop it. Yeah, we don't want that.
Kevin Feige already said it's off the books.
Oh.
No more.
Howard,
very, very cool. Well, that, my friends, we're right at that 2-hour mark. That does it for us right here for the Am I Still on the Air Deadpool and Wolverine spoiler review. Man, it's been awesome getting back on here and talking it up. So let's go around the room. Where can the people find you? Peeps, tell them.
The People's Forum on the internets. I'm all, of course, reddragonsradio.com. You can find me on there, or just search The People's Forum. For my peoples on the X or Twitters. Number 4 my peoples. And yeah, I like to do this thing where we talk about some nerdy stuff. So that's my podcast.
There you go.
I'm famous.
Frigginz is gonna tell them if they're friggin' right or friggin' wrong.
That's friggin' right. Well, obviously, I can be here on Am I Still on the Air when we do these breakdowns with the spoilers. But if you're looking for non-spoiler reviews, you can come on down to Instagram and check out my Instagram. It's very simply at Frigginz. That's Frigginz, and watch my friggin' movie reviews. Again, non-spoiler. Now, I've only shared this one other time, so I'm going to share this again. This is only the second time this information has actually been put out there. I haven't even put it out myself on my own pages, but I actually have a YouTube page as well. So if you're not into Instagram, but you do like YouTube, go to my friggin' YouTube. And I have my friggin' movie reviews are posted there as well. So Instagram or YouTube, you can check them out either way.
There you go. Awesome. And of course, you could always follow the show at simply Am I on the Air, all one word. And of course, myself at DX DONMEGA. And everything else there is scrolling along the bottom of your screen. And you can follow along on anywhere you get your podcast. And this one here is in video form here on the YouTube, but also audio version will be available in a couple days on our normal podcast feed. So thank you once again so much for joining us and trucking along with some spoilers on the awesome Deadpool and Wolverine. If you haven't seen it and you've been watching this, hey, I hope that this entices you to go see it even more. And even if you have seen it, hopefully it entices you to go back to the theater and check it out again because it's freaking awesome. So till next time, y'all, we'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.
Deuces.
Bye, mon ami.
Red Dragon!